Most dog owners would never dream of hurting their dog. Not deliberately, not cruelly, not in any obvious way. And yet, it happens every single day. Not because people do not love their dogs enough, but because they keep expressing that love in a language their dog does not fully understand. That is the part many people never stop to consider. Dogs do not judge love by intention alone. They understand love through safety, consistency, respect, clarity, and the feeling that the human standing in front of them is truly paying attention. So yes, it is entirely possible to love your dog deeply and still do small things that slowly wear away at trust. Not because your dog is dramatic. Not because they are overly emotional. But because something that feels harmless, normal, or even affectionate to a human can feel confusing, dismissive, overwhelming, or frightening to a dog. Today, we are breaking down 7 everyday things that hurt your dog's feelings more than most owners realize. And stay for number 7, because that is the one people justify the most. The one they call discipline. The one they believe is making their dog stronger. When in reality it can do the exact opposite. 1. Punishing the warning instead of listening to it. A dog licks their lips, looks away, pauses for a brief second, turns their head, shifts backward, or stiffens. Maybe, after trying everything else, they growl. And what do many owners do? They react to the growl. They scold the dog. No. Stop that. Don't you dare. But the growl was never the actual issue. The growl was simply the final line in a conversation the dog had already been trying to have with you. Dogs constantly communicate discomfort long before things escalate. The problem is that most of those signals are quiet. They are subtle. They are polite. And because they are subtle, people miss them all the time. So when a dog finally feels forced to escalate, and we punish that escalation, what we are really teaching them is something dangerous. We are telling them this: do not communicate discomfort. Keep it inside. Stay silent. And a dog that learns honesty is unsafe does not suddenly become relaxed or well-adjusted. They simply become quieter. That silence should never be mistaken for trust. Silence can also be suppression. A dog whose emotional signals are respected rarely needs to shout. A dog whose signals are ignored eventually learns that communication changes nothing. And that is one of the deepest and quietest ways trust begins to fracture. 2. Loving them physically when they have not said yes. The hugs. The face pressed into theirs. The tight squeezing. The constant grabbing and reaching. To people, these gestures often feel loving, warm, intimate, and affectionate. But to a dog, the experience can feel completely different. Many dogs tolerate this because they know you. Because they are patient. Because they are gentle. Because they have learned over time that resisting does not change much. But tolerance should never be confused with enjoyment. When a dog turns their face away while being kissed, that means something. When their body stiffens in the middle of a cuddle, that means something. When they yawn, lick their lips, freeze, or become unnaturally still during handling, that means something. Those moments are communication. And when we ignore those signals because we believe we are being loving, the dog learns something unfortunate. Their comfort matters less than our desire for affection. Real affection in a dog's world is much quieter than most humans imagine. It is a hand offered before touching. It is a gentle stroke across the chest instead of a sudden hand over the head. It is allowing space for them to move away without being followed. It is contact that feels invited rather than imposed. Many dogs absolutely love touch. But what they love most is safe touch. Predictable touch. Respectful touch. Touch that honors boundaries. And when you learn that language, your dog feels more than handled. They feel understood. 3. Changing the rules depending on your mood. One day your dog is allowed on the couch. The next day they get scolded for jumping on it. Last week jumping excitedly was funny and adorable. This week it annoys you. Yesterday the barking made you laugh. Today it makes you angry. Humans handle inconsistency better than dogs do. Dogs live through patterns. Patterns help them understand us. Patterns help them predict outcomes. Patterns help them determine what feels safe and what does not. When rules keep shifting based on your mood, stress level, exhaustion, or patience, your dog loses the ability to build a reliable map of life with you. And that matters more than many owners realize. Researcher Lisa Horn, while studying the secure base effect in domestic dogs, helped show something powerful. A trusted owner acts as a stable anchor from which the world becomes manageable. Think about that for a moment. Your dog uses you as emotional stability. You are their reference point. And anchors only work when they hold steady. If your tone shifts unpredictably, boundaries keep moving, and reactions depend entirely on which version of you showed up that day, your dog starts living with low-level uncertainty. Not because you are cruel. Because you are inconsistent. And uncertainty always carries a cost. It makes dogs more hesitant, more watchful, more cautious, less confident in what comes next. And if this is giving you a new way of looking at your own habits, subscribe and stay with us. This is exactly what this channel is for. Not guilt, not judgment. Real understanding. The kind that makes life better for both of you. Point 4. Turning every walk into a mission. For a human, a walk often means movement. Point A to point B. Exercise completed. Task checked off. But for a dog, a walk is something far deeper than simple movement. A walk is information. It is reading the neighborhood. It is learning who passed by during the night. Who felt stressed. Who was sick. Who left scent behind. What changed. What is unfamiliar? What feels safe? To a dog, a walk is not just physical activity. It is mental orientation. It is how they understand the world around them. So when every walk becomes "come on, hurry up, leave that, not now, move, faster," something important gets taken away. Your dog loses one of the most meaningful emotional outlets in their day. And over time, that quietly affects your relationship. Because the walk stops feeling like shared time. Instead, it begins to feel like being dragged through a world they were never allowed to understand. Letting a dog sniff is not spoiling them. It is not wasting time. It is allowing them to gather information. It is letting them read the newspaper. And when your dog is never given enough freedom to do that, the message becomes very clear. Your pace matters. Mine does not. To a dog, that is not a small message. It carries emotional weight. 5. Pushing them through fear instead of helping them through it. This almost always comes from good intentions. He needs to get used to it. She needs to be brave. If I keep exposing her, eventually she will realize it is harmless. Sometimes gentle exposure can help. But often, what owners call confidence building is something very different. The dog is overwhelmed. The dog is stressed. The dog is not coping. And instead of receiving support, they are being held in discomfort through pressure, force, or persistence. The stranger is too close. The children are too loud. The other dog feels threatening. The room is too chaotic. And the dog is not learning safety. They are learning something else. They are learning that even when they are afraid, they will still be pushed forward. That changes the emotional meaning of the experience. Because now the fear is no longer only about the situation itself. It becomes tied to your judgment as well. A dog that feels emotionally secure with you believes something powerful. When I struggle, this person notices. This person helps. This person protects. A dog repeatedly pushed through fear begins believing something very different. When I struggle, I am alone. True confidence does not grow from forced overwhelm. It grows from supported exposure. From choice. From distance. from recovery, from small wins, from experiences where the dog feels challenged, but not flooded. Confidence grows when safety remains intact, not when overwhelm is called training. 6. Only noticing them when they are loud. Your dog barks. Now you respond. Your dog paws at you. Now you look. Your dog whines, jumps, demands, insists. Suddenly, they have your full attention. But all the quieter moments passed unnoticed. The soft lean against your leg. The calm glance from across the room. The way they settled beside you without asking for anything. The toy gently placed near your feet. The quiet pause at the doorway. Dogs constantly make small bids for connection. The problem is that these moments are easy to miss because they are not disruptive. They do not demand. They invite. And if the only connection that ever gets rewarded is the loud kind, your dog learns something practical. Calm connection goes unseen. Intensity gets results. That is how many owners accidentally teach the clingy, demanding behaviors they later find exhausting. Not because they loved too much, but because they overlooked the quiet language until the dog learned they had to become louder. Your dog is not asking for much during those small moments. Usually, they are asking for only one thing. Notice me. And when you do, it matters more than most people realize. 7. Using intimidation when they are already confused. The harsh voice. The looming posture. The leash jerk. The repeated no's spoken with frustration instead of clarity. People justify this all the time. The dog is stubborn. The dog is testing boundaries. The dog wants dominance. The dog needs to know who is in charge. But in many cases, the dog is not challenging authority at all. They are confused, underinformed, overwhelmed, or afraid. And when confusion gets answered with intimidation, something very specific happens. The dog does not become emotionally stronger. They become more cautious around you. Sometimes this looks like obedience. The dog listens. The dog complies. But something important has changed. There is less joy in their body, less confidence in their movement, less emotional openness. And research helps explain why this matters so much. Behavior researcher Rachel Casey and her colleagues found that dogs trained using more aversive methods appeared more pessimistic in cognitive testing. In simple terms, they were more likely to expect something negative. And that is critical. Because this was not merely a change in behavior. It reflected a change in emotional state. Not just what the dog does, but how the dog feels about life itself. So when your dog is already uncertain and your response is pressure instead of clarity, you are not making them tougher. You are teaching them that the world is less safe than it seemed a moment ago. And if there is one everyday behavior that quietly hurts a dog most deeply, it may be this. Making them feel small in the exact moments they needed guidance the most. None of that makes you a bad owner. It makes you human. And dogs, thankfully, are extraordinarily forgiving. When your love begins to feel safe in their language, everything changes. The relationship deepens. Trust grows. Communication becomes clearer. Your dog is not asking you to be perfect. They are asking you to be understandable. And once you become that, you have a dog who feels emotionally at home with you. Every video on this channel begins the same way, with a question most dog owners have never stopped to ask. And then we go looking for the real answer. Not the simplified version. Not the comfortable assumption. The actual science. The studies. The behavioral research that takes years to surface and rarely reaches people in a way that feels like a real conversation. That is what we do here. Every single time. If this video gave you something, a new way of seeing your dog, or a moment that made you stop and think, then do one thing before you leave. Hit like. Drop a comment telling us which of the 7 surprised you most. And subscribe so you do not miss what we are putting out next. Because the more you understand your dog, the better life gets for both of you. And that is always worth showing up for.